welcome back to another EDH deck tech. This is my Nicol Bolas the Ravager deck. I absolutely love this card. It's just a solid flying 4/4 that's going to discard opponents' cards. It's just so much fun to play. And the best thing about Nicol Bolas, it doesn't really tell you which way you should be going in terms of how you build this deck. So there's a lot of configuration and a lot of your own identity that you can kind of put into these decks. So you have a lot of creativity that you can just pour into it. So this one that I've made is a Superfriends or Supervillains deck. Essentially, it's just going to play a lot of Planeswalkers and proliferate those Planeswalkers to try to get to ultimates. Planeswalkers are sometimes really hard to play with and against. If there's an opponent that has a lot of attacking creatures, it's going to be hard to keep your Planeswalkers on the field. But it really provides that puzzle of how do I keep these Planeswalkers on the field where they can just be attacked or easily destroyed. So there is that challenge. And once you start creating a snowball effect of Planeswalker after Planeswalker after Planeswalker, it can get difficult for some opponents to manage those. Now there are some people might find Planeswalkers annoying to play against. So make sure that you've got a play group that is open for you playing this kind of deck. But it is a lot of fun. So let's go through it. So first up is Ashiok, Dream Render. Just really good. It's going to stop people from searching libraries and exiling graveyards, which is all good effects to have. And it's just super cheap at 3. I want to be putting Planeswalkers down as soon as possible. So 3 mana's a nice value to have. Bigger Ashiok, Nightmare Muse. It creates a blocker, which is nice. And it can bounce any pesky permanents that you might be having trouble dealing with. Jace Bellerin. This one's nice one. It just draws cards. You even have a bit of flexibility with some politics, getting it down early, getting everyone a card. Maybe they might avoid your Planeswalkers for a turn or two, so that's quite nice. But it's just there just to be cheap and draw cards. Kasmina, Enigmatic Mentor. This one's okay. It's one of the weaker ones. It will create a blocker, which is nice. And you're going to draw a card and discard a card, which is also a nice effect. That we have some ways of returning Planeswalkers, so if you have to discard one, that's okay. And also taxes our opponents for targeting our Planeswalkers, so just a little bit of protection. This one just kind of has a little bit of everything, just a little too expensive, but still a fun card. Liliana, Dreadhorde General. This one's one of the best Planeswalkers. It draws cards, creates blockers, it sacrifices opponents' creatures. I don't really have a lot of creatures in this deck, so it's not really going to affect me. And that ult is usually game winning. So this one is an ult that you can try and go for. Nasset, Paravalth. This one, really, really nice. It's just super controlling. It's going to dig deeper into your deck for more Planeswalkers, which is what we want, and also stop people from drawing too many cards. Okay, it's Nicol Bolas the Ravager. I have to have some Nicol Bolas other Planeswalkers. So Dragon God, really powerful, super flexible. I have access to all the other loyalty abilities that I have on the battlefield. I'm drawing cards, I'm getting cards out of my opponent's hands, destroying permanents, and plus this ult can be game winning. So this is another ult that you might try to go for. Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh, huge Planeswalker. You're gonna have some fun trying to play stuff off people's decks, and just getting rid of people's cards, dealing with creatures, all that kind of stuff. Just great. That was a fun one. And then Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, huge loyalty upticks, getting rid of some of those non-creature permanents, which is sometimes difficult for Grixis, and just a lot of fun taking control of someone's commander. Yeah, really good. Sihili Sublime Artificer. There's another one. It's cheap. It creates blockers. I'm not really gonna have really want to use the -2, but there could be some use cases where I might want to be turning my artifacts into a copy of a creature, for instance. So yeah, just super cheap, and is creating those blockers. So Hilly the Gifted, another nice one. Just again creating blockers, and it is making some of my artifacts cheaper, which is nice. They do play a lot of artifacts. There is kind of like an artifact sub theme in this deck, just because a lot of the planeswalkers do in fact create artifact tokens. So it's quite nice. Sarkhan the Masterless. The dragon synergy is not really there. Although I guess I do have a dragon as a commander, and I can create the dragon token, so it could deter maybe some small tokens swinging out at me. But essentially, is there to make my planeswalkers attackers, essentially, and start threatening people. Teferi, Master of Time, very, very good in Commander. I will be able to activate it on other people's turns, so I can get to that ult very fast, as well as start going through my deck and trying to make sure that I have ways of protecting this. And then Teferi, Temporal Archmage. Another nice one. It's going to untap some permanents, which is really, really nice, essentially giving me some ramp. Or I can try to go for the loyalty, the ultimate, and try to get that so I can activate loyalties again. So, this one's a nice one. It is on the more expensive scale, but definitely fun card. Temizat. This one just there creates blockers, and it can sacrifice to draw cards and be there as another threat of, hey, I'm going to take your commanders if you don't do something. Tezzeret the Schemer. So it's just going to create treasures that I want to use to ramp. There is a few effects in here that will create treasures, or in his case, Ethereum cells. But it is going to allow me to ramp into some of those bigger planeswalkers like the Nicol Bolases. So it's quite nice. Tezzeret Artifice Master. Another one, it creates blockers, it draws cards. Having the artifacts clause condition on that 0 loyalty, it's quite easy in this kind of deck. So very nice. And then Tezzeret Master of the Bridge. It's going to give my planeswalkers affinity. So just really, really nice. It's just great to ramp out creatures, ramp out planeswalkers. Ugin the Ineffable, another one. So color spells are 2 less. So again, I play a few artifacts, so it's going to be nice to make those cheap, as well as create blockers and get rid of a permanent that perhaps I couldn't really deal with. And then Bigger Ugin, just great. It's going to board wipe, get rid of a lot of people's stuff. I have expensive planeswalkers, so something like a -4 might get rid of a lot of things and to keep my planeswalkers around, which is quite nice. Now I do concede that having Ugin and Nicol Bolas in the same deck might be a lore fail, but let's just say that they are at odds with each other in this deck. Sure. Okay, a nice little kind of win condition, the Elder Spell. So if I want to ult one of my planeswalkers, I can just destroy some of the others and get those loyalties on there. So for instance, Nicol Bolas Dragon God might be another one to try to ult for, or Liliana Dreadhorde General. I just need a few planeswalkers on my side, or maybe my opponents have a planeswalker. It's really gonna help and get those ultimates going. Okay, so I've got some planeswalker support cards. So first up, Contagion class. The -1 counter is not really that important. It's more the Proliferate. So I'm going to get planeswalkers on the board, and I want to proliferate. Now there is Contagion Engine. I don't have that in the deck purely because it's a quite expensive card. So if you want, you could upgrade to Contagion Engine, which would be nicer because it proliferates twice, but essentially it does the same thing. Contentious Plan draws a card, so it replaces itself and proliferates. So, I'm getting those loyalty counters up. Throwing a Geth, sacrifice an artifact, proliferate. I'm creating a lot of servos, tokens, and things like that are artifacts. So sacrificing them to proliferate just is great value. Flux Channeler. So Flux Channeler, I've got heaps of non-creature spells. Almost everything is a non-creature spell. So get this down, and then I'm just going to start proliferating. So quite nice. Rings of Brighthearth. So another one where I can pay the 2 and double up on someone's loyalty ability. So it's not going to give me the counter, but it is going to give me double effect. So that's quite nice. Just go and it's only for 2 mana, so relatively cheap. I can play a Planeswalker and pay for their ability, which is quite nice. Tutors Gambit. Another one's just draw 2 for 4, but you can pay your Phyrexian mana to do this. So it's pay 3 to draw 2 cards and then proliferate. So, it's good to draw cards and to start proliferating on your Planeswalkers. Yawgmoth, throw in position. Another one where I can discard a card to proliferate. Like I said, I have some return Planeswalker cards in this deck, so maybe I can discard one of the expensive ones and proliferate some of my smaller ones, and then bring another one back. And maybe the neg one counter might come up, but I don't really have a lot of creatures other than some small servo tokens, so those might be the things that you sacrifice just to draw a card, so quite nice. And then Deep Glow Skate, so you're going to double counters, so your loyalty counters are just going to shoot right up. So really, really good. You do want to kind of play this when you have a board of maybe 2 or 3 Planeswalkers, and then they're really gonna shoot up. I don't know how many Planeswalkers in Christmas Land you can have, but if you can get a few and then get this down, it's going to be a lot of fun. And then Inexorable Tide. So whenever you cast a spell, you're going to proliferate. So this one is really, really nice. Maybe you play one of your 3 mana Planeswalkers early, then play this, then follow it up with another bigger Planeswalker. You're just going to start shooting that loyalty right up. So yeah, very, very fun. Okay, so some of the return. So I will be... This one is 5 mana Dark Intimations. It's going to be sacrificing creatures, and then they're going to discard a card, and I can return a creature to my hand and draw a card. So that's quite nice. But I can also then return or then have my cast my Bolas with an additional loyalty. So any extra loyalty will be really, really nice. The Eldest Reborn, here for a bit of flavor as well. But it's going to remove some creatures. It's going to discard a card, and then it's going to bring Planeswalker back to the battlefield, which is the effect that I want. So a bit slow, but very flavoursome, and I do always enjoy this one. And then Yawgmoth's Vile Offering. So I can bring back a Planeswalker from the graveyard to the battlefield, which is really, really nice, because I do need a legendary to cast this, and obviously Planeswalkers are legendary, so I'm usually going to have this effect online, and then I'll also get rid of a pesky creature or Planeswalker, so nice, this one. Baleful Strix. So this one's just a bit of draw. It's just super efficient. It's 2 mana, flying, Death Touch, and it's just going to replace itself. So I find that Death Touch can deter people from attacking you and your Planeswalkers, which is really nice. And then Deliver Unto Evil. You're going to get 4 cards when you have a Bolas Planeswalker. So there are a few Bolas Planeswalkers. I'm going to be trying to get my commander out and flipping that commander. So, it can be just draw 4. But if you need, it can be just draw 2. Then some tutors. So Vampire Tutor, just super efficient, super cheap. It's going to get me whatever I want on the top of my library. So maybe I need another Planeswalker or something, I can just put on. Demonic Tutor, another one, just gets me any card I want. Maybe I need to start proliferating or need a board wipe or something like that. I can just go for it. Okay, Opposition Agent, a very strong card. This one's just here to be just generally annoying. I want to stop people from searching in their libraries to get things that can deal specifically with my Planeswalkers. I want to kind of keep them on their original game plans with the cards that they've got. So stopping them from searching, as well as just generally being a mischievous card and very Nicol Bolas style card. Just, really good. If your play group's not really at this kind of level, then, definitely replace this. And then the even better one, Hullbreacher, another one where it's caveat of, your play group has to kind of be at this kind of level. But I want to stop people from drawing. I'm going to flash it in. I'm going to get those treasures, and I'm going to use those treasures to cast bigger Planeswalkers. So I do want as many treasures as I can. So having this is quite nice when someone tries to draw too many cards. Okay, so removal. So Vandal Blast, classic. Because this is Grixis, and Grixis can be sometimes very good stuffy. I'm playing a lot of the, what I would consider some of the better removals. So Vandal Blast is great. It's going to get rid of all artifacts, which is quite nice. Cyclonic Rift. Maybe someone's going to swing out at you. You can just Cyclonic Rift them, and then your Planeswalkers are going to be safe for you to activate on your turn. Super powerful, obviously. Mana Drain, another one where you're going to get that mana to ramp out to some of those bigger Planeswalkers. A lot of those Planeswalkers, minus some of the 3 mana ones, they'll be like 3 generic mana or something like that. So, you can really utilize some of that generic mana. Chaos Warp, another one, just going to deal with any permanents that we can't deal with, and they might flip over just a land or an instant or sorcery, and then just not be able to get it. Deflecting Swat, another one. This one's a great card. I don't find a lot of people target Planeswalkers too much, but it is there just as a caveat, just in case they have something that's going to target some of my stuff. I can just Deflecting Swat away, and it's free. This Guardianship, free, negate, absolute fantastic card. I do want to get Nicol Bolas out, so this can be online. It's going to be really nice. People are going to be doing board wipes for my Planeswalkers and things like that. I can just, Fierce Guardianship, it's really good. Baleful Mastery, another one that I've been putting into some of my black decks. I just found it just to be super cheap and efficient. 2 mana just to exile target creature or Planeswalker, just really, really great rate. And the drawing a card doesn't really matter too much. Maybe it's an opponent that's losing or about to die or whatever the case is. It doesn't really matter sometimes. Deadly Rollick, another one, free. They're going to be swinging out with a big creature maybe. You can just exile it if it's going to be targeting one of your Planeswalkers, attacking one of your Planeswalkers. You can just, for free, just exile it. It's really good. Some board wipes, Toxic Deluge, just super efficient, 3 mana. Use that life as a resource and get rid of those creatures. Damnation, another one, destroy all creatures, just really, really efficient. Great board wipe. Crux of Fate. So this one, it's in there. It's a bit flavoursome. It does depict their battle. Ugin and Nicol Bolas, which I really like, and it can keep my dragon around, which is good. And hopefully you don't have a dragon opponent, I guess. But in most of the cases, it gets rid of pretty much everything. So makes it up. And then Blasphemous Act, another one that's just going to pretty much get rid of most things. So I play 4 board wipes. You can play more. Opponents might find it a bit annoying when you start to get more and more board wipes, but board wipes are obviously good because they don't affect your planeswalkers. Okay, ramp, Soul Ring, really good. Arcane Signet, really good. Dockside Extortionist. I want those treasures. I want as many treasures as I can. Depending on your play group, this might only net you a few, or it can net you quite a lot. So, you know, Dockside Extortionist, get 4 treasures. It's just so good. And then I can start using those treasures to get some of those more bigger planeswalkers out. So really good. Nightscape Familiar. It's just going to make things cheaper. It's also red and blue. And of course I have a lot of blue, less so red planeswalkers. But yeah, just making cards cheaper, really, really good. And it's only 2 mana. Felwar Stone, really good. Mind Stone, another one's going to draw me a card. And then I play all 3 possible talismans. So Talisman of Creativity, Talisman of Dominance, and then Talisman of Indulgence. So really good. Talismans, you're in Grixis, you don't have land ramp or anything like that. So yeah, you do what you get. And then I also play all the signets. So Devere Signet, Izzet Signet, and Rakdos Signet, of course. So all the signets. So that's all the ramp. And then lands. So it is 3 colors. So you want to play a variety of, dual lands. So there is a lot of tweaking that comes to the mana base. But I do play some utility lands. So Bojuka Bog, just great to get rid of people's graveyards. Khan's Bastion. This one's a nice one. It's just a land that proliferates. So if I have nothing to do and I've just got planeswalkers on the battlefield, I can proliferate, which is nice. And Strip Mine. I do play some kind of land destruction land in all of my decks, depending on the budget. This would be a Strip Mine or a Wasteland. And if it's a more budget, it might be something like a Ghost Quarter or something like that. Just because somebody will have a Cabal Coffers or Gaia's Cradle or some kind of effect like that, you've got an answer to deal with it. And then I'd play all on-color fetches, so Bloodstained Mire, Polluted Delta, Scalding Tarn, so all the on-color fetches, as well as some basic land fetches, so Fabled Passage and Prismatic Vista. So they're just fetching out some basics. And I do play all the shocks, so Blood Crypt, Steam Vents, and Watergrave, which is great. And then also play all 3 check lands, so Dragonskull Summit, Drowned Catacombs, and Sulphur Falls. And then I do play all 3 temples. The temples are generally the weakest ones. They come in tapped, but I like the scry. There's not that much card draw in this deck, so being able to scry is quite nice. Plus, I do like the symmetry of all 3 of each cycle. So yeah, so by all means change out the mana base if you feel like it's more important to have something else. Temple of Deceit, Temple of Epiphany, and Temple of Malice. And then I also play all the pathways. So pathways are really nice. They'll give me whatever color I need at the time. So yeah, just good flexibility. So Bright Step Pathway, Clearwater Pathway, and Riverglide Pathway. And then I play some Rainbow Lands or Tri-Lands or something like that. So Crumbling Nicol Bolas gives me all my colors, but it comes with tapped, which is unfortunate. Command Tower, great, it's going to give me all the colors. Exotic Orchard, it's going to give me everything in my opponent's control. Now I am blue, black, red, which is some of the more popular colors, minus green. So somebody will have usually one of my colors. So it's not really that big of a deal. Interplanar Beacon, it's a nice little life gain, but I'm going to be I have a lot of planeswalkers, so it's going to filter my mana, which is nice. Spire of Industry, it's colorless, or I can just pay a life and essentially mana confluence, because I will have a lot of artifacts. So this having this condition is quite easy. I have some of the filter lands, so Graven Khans and Shivan Reef. I don't have the blue-black one. And then Training Center. So these are really, really good. They generally come in untapped because you will have, usually 3 opponents. Now, I only have Training Center, unfortunately, so you could definitely put the other 2 in. And then the rest is just basic lands. So, yeah, it's filled out quite nicely. So this is my Nicol Bolas, the Ravager deck. Super fun. If you like Planeswalkers, you're going to enjoy this. If you don't like Planeswalkers, I would say give it a go, because you might learn to love through your opponent's tears. So thanks, enjoy.